Hey, welcome to the Doc Analyzes Anything, where science and psychology meet, and we analyze any behavior, including applauding for yourself after finishing trivial tasks.
You should have just ended that with after finishing.
The slow clap or fast clap.
I hope your grandma listens to this one.
Wait, so what was the actual ending?
What was the what?
What was the actual ending of what you said? After finishing what?
Menial tasks.
Trivial
Trivia.
tasks.
All right.
Trivial tasks.
After completing trivia night.
I mean, I think either you have to be really full of yourself or really kind of in a bad place. Like, great job. You finally got something done today. Or I'm great at everything I do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it could just be a little morale boost. Like we talked about it a long time ago. That are you a person that makes the bed first thing in the morning? Because hey, that's something you're starting the day. Good job. Got the
yeah, I
day
don't
going.
need that in my life.
I do. I add things that I get done. I add them to my, like, if they're not on my to-do list, but I did them anyways, I'll add them to my to-do list and cross them off. And then I get to look at my to-do list so it looks like I did something, even if it's not exactly what I'd set out to do.
So not the same thing, but I saw a random video the other day. We're not going to talk about you needing to hype yourself up there, Kyle. We're just going to ignore that ever happened.
That's fine.
But someone's like in text arguments with family members, and they're liking their own texts just to fuel the fire even more. And that's kind of what I immediately thought of here is that'd be a great way. Like, you never do the dishes, just wash a dish. You know what I mean?
I like it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I can see different ways of taking that one, you know?
My favorite, you saying that kind of made me think about it, but not liking your own message, but like in social media with how everyone can see how many likes a certain post or whatever has. If a person likes their own picture on like Instagram or on Facebook, they like their own post. Like what's your guys' thoughts on that person?
You either have to go all the way with it or never do it. You know what I mean? It's not like I seriously like this picture of me or I seriously made a good point here. It's got to be I'm annoying and I just like everything I do, or you never do it. I think it's got to be either part of your persona or not.
Yeah.
You're either self-centered or you're not.
Or you're goofy, depending on how you do it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's an etiquette, but there's also some comedic effect, I think, when you say something that's like blatantly like out of sync with what everybody else is saying, then you give it a little heart. I like giving myself heart emojis every now and
You know, I've talked about, well, I will not use emojis or anything, and so again,
yet.
Not doing it.
Do you use emojis, Kyle?
Usually.
What's your top emoji if you go to like the frequently used one?
That's a good question. How do I see that? Don't want to be a boomer here, but
what's my password?
It's the melting smiley face.
That's
followed by the shrug, the shrugging guy.
Like this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That one is in my second row. My number one is the salute.
Fair. Yep.
I guess you do send the salute whenever I say something that you don't want to answer. You just send the salute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I did it to everyone. Just I don't know why
say
more words when less words. How does Kevin phrase it in The Office?
I don't know, but
I don't know. But sometimes you just gotta follow your gut.
Yeah. There you go.
So what are we talking about today, guys?
I don't know.
Well, first, let's do the hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Steven Sparks, host of
You self-centered bastard. You just have to every time.
Analyzes everything. What if they don't know what's going on here? Well, they don't
We're
know
at episode like 36. I think they know.
What if they just clicked on it this time?
Fine.
It's true.
Start.
He should introduce himself.
Here
Come on,
with
Brad.
My all but one-time co-host Kyle Sturry and our sometimes most of the time co-host Dr. Meow 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 Bradley Clements.
Master Chief.
Yeah, I don't know if they can see that you've added your own title, Master Chief, to this, and so I hope you just sound crazy by saying that. Today we're going to talk about kind of instincts and what it means to go with your gut and what that is. But I think first we need to, for anybody watching us on YouTube and not just listening, address the fact that Kyle is obviously laying in bed right now while recording this. And
I
so
moved the wrong direction and threw my back out. So this
he
position doesn't hurt.
is full invalid at this point. He has
Mhm.
a full staff serving him as he finds necessary at this point. And
Quite
so
the contrary. I worked a full day. Thanks, Steve. And I walked around a little bit, but
I'd
yeah,
say
I'm gonna try to move after this.
you should be thanking me for having a job where you can work from bed. You know, like
I said thanks, Steve.
do
Did you
you
hear me?
ever do you ever actually get out of bed? That's the question.
Didn't you hear me say thanks, Steve? I don't
I'll
know. I don't
address the
know.
other elephant in the room, Dr. Sparks. Did you get new blinds?
It's been like months.
Oh, I just noticed. Never mind.
That was like right after Halloween. I was trying to close the blinds, they snapped. I even mentioned it on an episode and then got new ones like a week later.
I
Have you
also
noticed
love that.
those, Kyle?
I love that new blinds would be like the elephant in the room too. Like we're all thinking it. I'm gonna say the quiet part out loud. What's with the new blinds?
We're all thinking it. Are you using a new moisturizer? Like, what's going on here? All right. Well, let's get to the topic here since we brought up gut and instincts already.
Let's do it.
I don't remember what the conversation was, but I was in grad school one time and someone just went off on a total rant about people saying, I didn't know the answer, so I just went with my gut and how ridiculous that is and all this. And
to go with your gut or to
go with
think
go with your gut rather than actually preparing, I think was the whole point of that.
Right. Okay.
And we'll talk about why going with your guts rather than just answering the letter C on your multiple choice, like my buddy growing up always did. It was always C or 3 or 4. I don't know. He has had a number and an answer for everything that he didn't know the answer to. But it gets you thinking, like, what is it to go with your gut instinct? What are instincts? And more than that, like, what are instincts, like, animal behavior compared to what we think of as human behavior and going with your instinct? And so I'm sure Dr. Meow Meow here will have a little bit more to talk about, the animal side and how that looks like. But with animals, we know there are some, innate instincts there. There's the idea of imprinting, especially with geese. And the moment they're born or they hatch, they're following the first thing they see around as their mother.
Are you referring to Conrad Lorenz because they were ducks?
I'm referring to the child book I have upstairs called Mother Bruce, where the geese immediately follow the bear that was about to eat them because they hatched.
I like referring to getting our ducks in a row.
We're not going back to ducks in a row.
Call back.
But yeah, it's been a long time. It's been almost 20 years since I took the classes that talked about imprinting. So I apologize for getting the species of fowl incorrect there.
But even imprinting isn't necessarily a given.
Correct. And that it depends on the species a lot, but there have been some tests or studies that show, bring that into question a little bit of how that works. But you have other things as well, like think about the monarch butterflies and their migration. And if I'm correct, I believe the special I watched one time on, I don't know, some Animal Life, but they were talking about that migration and how they actually go generations between migration because they don't live very long. So they migrate to the northern United States, have a few generations, and then still find their way back to the same place that a generation or two ago they migrated north from. And that almost seems like there has to be some sort of animal instinct at play there, where they know it's not like geese. Maybe it is something internal. Maybe it's, all right, you followed your mom who followed your grandparent geese and you're going, it's taught to you where to go. This is, it's hard to even fathom how they get to the same place when there's so many separations and they don't have verbal behavior to communicate it, you know?
Right.
Um,
Right.
and so,
Like,
animal instincts, again, there are these examples where you can see a lot more, but with humans, we're really talking about that, like we've mentioned several times, those unconditioned, unlearned reinforcers are reinforcing. That's really all we have as instinct, is that kind of fear response that you get that babies have all the time. You know, even like latching onto mother's breast and drinking the milk takes a day or two of mastery. Like it's not something they're just
mm,
born with the ability to do. And later on, when you start using solid foods, like our kids are gagging the whole time until they figure it out. It really just is moving towards warmth, if I can move my body at all, is reinforcing. That's built in. Um, Food when I'm hungry, water when I'm thirsty, being reinforcing is built in, but the behaviors themselves are not. And so with humans, we're talking about something very different than what we're kind of talking about with animals.
I was watching the life cycle of elephants with my homeschool crew this morning here while in bed. And one of the first behaviors a baby elephant does in utero, what do you think it is?
The first thing it does.
One of the first behaviors that it
Like once it's fully
exhibits.
formed,
Yeah, or even like not fully formed yet. It's very cute. It suckles on its own trunk.
Is that a common thing that elephants do, like when they're young?
Yes, maybe.
it says they
This
have
one, this one
they've
did.
they have a built-in pacifier. Is
This one
really
did.
what's
I'm gonna fact
and
check myself while you're talking.
I mean with human babies, there is at later stages like the practicing breathing of the amniotic fluid. You know, there's different things that do occur, and so taking that first breath coming out of the womb obviously is not guaranteed, but there must be some level of instinct to that point. But again, that's about where we're finding we're having to cut the line for humans, anyways, because everything else has to be learned. It does not just take an automatic form necessarily.
Hmm. Yes, elephants suckle on their trunks for comfort as young, and is a very, very cute photo that I'm going to very high tech show. Look at that. Look at that.
The older elephants are like, "Oh, this guy still sucks on his trunk. What a kid, what a baby!"
What does that pacifier look like?
Oh, so talking about instincts the way we talk about it in our society, what do you think of when you hear someone's instincts? Like different topics or like areas or how it works? What do you tend to think of?
I mean, it's gonna be like things for, I think, split-second decisions, like a do or do not. It's a very black and white type moment. Well, no, not really actually, because there's all the different routes that you can go with making a gut decision.
Mm,
Yeah,
Uh,
I don't think it needs to be restricted to
no.
that, but I think of street smarts. That was one
mhm.
that the same sort of thing. We're like, all right, hear the moment, make the decision. What am I going to do here? That's kind of you following your gut, your instinct.
Yeah.
I think like farmers like trusting their instinct on uh like, yeah, the weatherman says this, but I'm gonna go with my gut on this one. It kind of sucks. I can only think of a farming example. It
And,
doesn't help my
it's
my
One
it,
is
Amish.
that what I do
I was
daily,
just about to call it.
the Amish stuff coming out, yeah.
Can't get away from it.
I know
Is it
exactly how to fix
when you can feel it in
that
your
wobbly
knee?
wagon wheel. As soon as I see it start moving,
Take
You
the
can feel
rubber
it
off
in
of
your
it, and
knees and your joints when it's gonna rain.
yeah.
we'll feel it in my bone.
Yeah. But yeah, one that I was gonna say is for me in my everyday life at work, because like one thing one of the clinicians at school always taught us is that you have patients, you run diagnostics to get data to use to make medical decisions, but in the end you're treating a patient, not a number. And so even though like a value could be off, but you know in your gut intuition that that doesn't make sense with how the animals like presented clinically. So like one that's very common
Mm,
is like cats that get really stressed, they can get like elevated glucose. And so then if you just look at, if you don't know anything and you just like come in and see a blood work for a cat that just is like stressed out in hospital, and you see that as glucose is so like I think upwards and normal is 125. And then you see that this cat has a blood sugar of like 200 something, you can be like, oh, this thing is diabetic. But
Is
then
that instinct or is that just like data interpretation though?
what do you mean?
Like, is it your instinct to know that, or is that what you're
So
talking about?
like by the book, like that is hyperglycemia where you could use it to interpret it however you want, but in your gut that that is not like a diabetic related hyperglycemia.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
Yeah, and I think that and your back and forth there is a good example of we're not talking about things that are just innate to humans because we're talking about things very specific that if you didn't learn about them historically, you'd have no reference to whatsoever. Like Kyle and I have no reference to that, um, or
Whatever the
even
hell you were talking about.
yeah, that nonsense you're just spewing. Um, so like, behavior analytically, when we're looking at, we're really talking about both contingency control.
Mhm.
And it's kind of like what we talked about in past episodes when you're driving. And at first, you have to use the rule to explain to yourself, all right, I turn here, watch my mirrors, slow down as I'm approaching this light, just don't hit the brake too hard. And then, like, now you drive home and don't even remember the trip because you're busy thinking or listening to music and it's just automatic. Um, and also some level of generalization where uh, you're in a new situation or a similar situation. The stimuli in your environment are similar enough, and now you know how to react, but you don't know how to label or we mentioned before, tact how to react in that situation or why you're reacting the way you are. But you are because you've encountered similar enough situations in the past, and so it's kind of this combination of I know how to react in this situation because I've been through it so many times. It's become automatic to me. The antecedent, the environment around me that tells me how to act, the behavior itself, and then the consequence is more likely to be reinforcing based on my learning history without even having to stop and think about it. And then
Mhm.
also, all right, this is different, this is new, but I just know I get this feeling this is what I need to do here because I've been in enough somewhat similar situations that says this is the best way to react. And so going back to my buddy always answering C, sure, like you're likely to get maybe 25% of the time get that correct. I remember many times taking a test being like, I don't know why I know this, but I'm pretty sure it's B, and so I'm gonna just go with that gut reaction and it being right because there is a learning history there. It's just not strong enough and salient enough to bring me to why I know that's the correct answer.
Right.
So
well,
back to
and
my
even
colleague. Sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say one thing in grad school specifically. So many people that I know, with every exam that we take in school, they go back through and reread every single question to confirm their answer. I would never do that because even though I might miss one or two because I just misread it and answered it incorrectly, but more often than not, when I would go back through, reread stuff and start to question myself, 50% of the time I change it to a wrong answer. And
50% of the
so
time you were right every time.
are you
No,
quoting Anchorman right there almost?
I did pull out a Sex Panther reference right there, yes. But
Yeah.
no, I've been in that situation. I will say there's a little bit difference between just being in a class, having a limited amount of time, I gotta get this done, and then afterwards I'm like,
Mhm.
all right, if I didn't do well on this one, I'll just do so well on the next couple that it won't be a big deal. Versus, our board certification exam where I'm like, nope, I'm marking these and I'm gonna go back and dissect these again just to make sure because I know they're written in a way to try to trick me. And so I
Mhm.
rarely went back to look at an average test in grad school, but the certification one, I did go through and double check just to make sure I was not making a silly mistake. Um,
Well, as someone who was on the dean's list every semester in grad school, I checked every answer many times.
it's the difference between you and I, Kyle, is you were doing everything you need to do to get perfect grades, and I was doing the math. Like, all right, what do I need to score on this test to get my A and get out of here? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's
So,
probably when I lost all my hair too, but, yeah,
uh,
I don't know.
what I was getting back to though is my colleague in school, while correct it'd be much better if people would just study, prepare, and know how to handle the test or situations instead of just following their gut. The gut is a good thing to use when you don't have any other reference because usually it is based on other learning history. Now, you still have a much more likely chance of being wrong because you didn't actually
Yeah.
prepare, but it's better than just answering C every time is really what we're getting at. So,
Yeah, like, even if you're unaware of the environmental contingencies that might be occasioning that instinct, quote unquote, like you're responding to something. You're responding to some aspect of that environment in that moment. So yeah, I've never thought of it that way. Like going with your gut, it's not like a random thing where like, some like divine intervention or like some sort of like I had a good feeling about it, a good vibe. It's actually like I'm probably responding to something that I've been reinforced for in the past.
yeah, and I think even beyond that, if you find that you are often not coming out on top or not achieving reinforcement in situations, maybe we should recognize not to go with our gut in those situations too. You know what I mean? Like maybe you need a new learning history to get through some of these situations. So, uh, as I mentioned before, and Brad, you kind of mentioned similarly, like the street smarts. You know, when you're in situations, you've been into some dangerous situations. You're always picking out like, all right, I met a new person and I can just tell something's off. I don't know why. I can't label what it is that's off. I can't tell you that there's for certain going to do something squirrely, but there's just something not quite right here. And there's a pattern of their behavior that makes me uncomfortable. And so I'm going to keep an eye on that person. And oftentimes you're right because there are some patterns of someone that or maybe they're just glancing around a little bit more because they're looking for an exit strategy or looking for something that they're going to potentially take or looking for a behavior pattern of somebody else to take advantage of, that sort of thing. And there are, obvious signs if you know what to look for, but there's still things that you'll pick up on if you're not, you know, trained to look for those as well. Um, I still don't like to walk into sit at a restaurant or a bar or anything without my back either to the wall or at least facing the door so I can see the people coming in and out. And I haven't been in a dangerous situation in many years, but it's still that gut instinct. It is still what I do because what if someone that I didn't get along with or someone else is going to get involved in a fight with somebody not with my party at all, and now I need to be ready to react.
So because of that, you put my sister in harm's way with putting her back to where she can't see the attacker coming.
We have done a lot of work. And by work, I mean, we've talked about it a lot and like what to recognize in potentially dangerous situations. I won't say that like, she had good street smarts, but she was not in a lot of the same situations I was growing up that teach some of those things. And so I still prefer to be the one on the lookout, but uh she actually was the one who pointed out the idea of like just noticing someone's acting in a way that makes you uncomfortable, like they may do something but you don't know why, as we were talking about this last night. So am I putting her in harm's way or am I being the protector? I guess that's up to you as the observer to decide at that point.
I think you're being um I think you're
He's
putting
been
my
wait
sister in harm's way.
he's
Okay.
been waiting to say this for like years.
Yeah. Uh Regardless, when Brad comes with us, we just put him between us and the door just to have a human shield as
And
necessary.
at
Just
So
another table, actually. There's two tables next to each other. But there's me, door.
yeah. Just so we can tip ours up to block it, and then there's he's in the way, and we got
I never
several
really understood why you always got two tables whenever we go places.
several layers of protection here is what we're talking about. To move on though, like, there's a lot of other like business decisions. There's a lot of situations on a daily basis where something comes to me and I'm like, you know what? I get a feeling that this is what is going on here. I don't know why I get that feeling, but I think someone's about to say, hey, we have to change the contract or something going on. So you preemptively go and come up with a solution. And oftentimes, like, yep, nope, I already got this planned out. I see what you're about to bring up to us here, and here's our way of dealing with it. Or
Mm,
um, looking at investing. and how some people just tend to invest in the right things and make a lot of money and others don't. And you can sit around and try to analyze the behavior of the members of the society and what they may purchase or buy or do and use that to your advantage. But you'll still find those people that don't even really know. There's like, yeah, I like this product. I'm going to buy this thing and then hit it rich with it.
Mm.
Throw this one out to Brad here just because I know we've had this conversation before. What's your gut instinct in finding the right restaurant? Say Chinese food or burger joint.
Like, are you gonna like what's my tip off?
Yeah, that's going to be a pretty good place.
I know most actually are Indian restaurants. If they have the tulip glasses with the gold rim, like on like the very top edge of the glass, and it's upside down on a paper table runner, oh, you're in for the best meal of your life.
That was a
Nice.
little more specific than I was going. I was just talking about how the fact that like the hole in the wall looking places that they all tend to have the same Chinese placemat that has the Chinese New Year and the animals on it. If you go to a place that's really well put together and seems like it's been highly invested in, then it tends to be a little bit more mainstream and a little bit less authentic. And so you're
Yeah.
looking for not necessarily like dirty or anything, but just it feels more like a family put together a shop rather than
Yeah.
it was
For
mainstream.
me, there's actually a place in Kalamazoo. I don't know. Did you ever go to Ray Ray's there on ML? Do you know Ray Ray's that I'm
No,
talking about?
I
Okay,
am not.
so it was that I'd always heard about it, and I'm getting to this because whenever they're just kind of gruff with you, it's like okay, this person might know what they're talking about. So I go to this Italian sandwich shop where it's like shaved beef, pepper, and onion, cheese type, like a what's that called? What's that kind of sandwich called?
Grinder.
Kinda. Yeah, something like that. But either way, I asked him, I'm like, or he asked, "Do you want the sandwich wet or dry?" And I go, "Oh, what do you mean by wet?" He goes, "Oh, we dip it in the au jus and get it all wet and sloppy for you." And I was like, this sandwich is about to be awesome. If he's talking to me like instead of just being like, "Oh, we drizzle a little of our au jus on it." No, he's talking about this thing is going to be an absolute mess to eat.
I will say, going down to Greektown, Detroit, and when you went into the places that you could tell they were family owned because they're yelling at each other
Hmm.
in the background, or even just the same way like the Coney Island restaurants, where it's an actual Coney dog restaurant, not like this American food eatery, but their primary sales are French fries and Coney dogs, and they're constantly just yelling at each other and bantering with customers. Like those are usually going to be the place that have the best
Yep.
food.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
Or there's this one kind of dive bar type place in Lansing that I really like going to. The food was cheap, but it was so simple. It was so good. And for me, it was the waitress came up. She was kind of gruff, and I could just smell like cigarettes on her. And I was like, "Oh, this is a dive bar type place. This food's about to be really good."
Which place was that? Oh yeah, I like Dagwoods.
Dagwoods was so good.
Hmm. Right by the highway.
Yep. Yep. I played it was funny because you know how there's that ball diamond right across the
Yeah.
street from it? So I played
Yeah.
a lot of travel ball there growing up. And every
Oh,
time we
nice.
play there, my mom would always say, "I bet you that place has amazing food." It just looks like the hole in the wall type place that it's gonna have its usual customers coming in, and it's
Yeah.
gonna be great.
Yeah,
And
it's
sure
got
enough,
that.
it was.
I had a really good burger there one time. I forget what it was called. It had that Thousand Island dressing feel to it though. Like I don't know, the patties that just kind of like almost honeycomb off at the end a little bit. You know
Mhm.
what I'm talking about? I don't
Yeah,
know what that's called. I'm not a burger griller. Um,
the
but that
crust.
that
You
yeah, I don't know.
you know that right where we live right now, there's a huge burger controversy right now.
Oh, yeah,
Huge. So
huge.
Go on.
since the 1950s, there's a few of these small burger joints in Metro Detroit. They're just a little white box, and you go in and like it's still the original grease on the wall since the 1950s type feel. You
Right.
still sit a little counter. You still get a good milkshake with your burger and fries and maybe some onion rings. And the one that's by our house, Hunter House, it's been around since the 1950s, was in a dispute over the like lease with the
Rent.
landlord or the property. they finally just moved down the street to another. I think it probably used to be another burger joint or fast food place.
It was either a KFC or a Wendy's. My gut intuition with the building, because each place has their like classic build, it looks more Wendy's like, but I
I'm
can't
pretty
remember someone.
sure I remember it being a KFC, but I could be making that up.
People said it was a KFC, but off the building itself, I would have guessed that it was a
You're
Wendy's.
remembering the old Wendy's with the domed glass little
Yep.
area, like yeah.
Yep.
Um. So, anyways, supposedly the landlord was going to tear it down and build a large, I don't know, apartment building or something here in this area. It's prime real estate.
Mhm.
Uh, on Woodward in Birmingham, and instead they said, "Oh, that deal fell through," and then the landlord's son opened up a burger joint in the original place, and so the original Hunter House is suing this place because they even got like signage that looked similar, and like they're
Whoa.
obviously trying to rip it off.
Well, because yeah, it's not the signage isn't similar. It's exactly the same, just with their name. And I mean, should we state the places what the
I
name
don't
of?
care. We're not placing
Okay,
judgment.
and even more of a spite to Hunter House, they named it Better Burgers.
Yeah,
Oh.
and so I mean, Hunter House is the type that that if you eat there too much, you're gonna have a heart attack. Like you can take the burger and like
Right.
rub it on the paper and see right through it with all the grease. It's those little small greasy burgers that are just amazing to eat. And let's just say that the different groups on social media in the area are all boycotting this new place. Like we are not
Sure.
having anything of this. How
Uh,
dare you mess with our original? And
I'll be honest. I wanted to give them a fair chance to see more so as just to see if they compare in the slightest. So I went there the other day, and it's not even a comparison. Like
like not as good?
no, the burger was not nearly as good, and it just the feel there, it felt like money grabby almost because they're trying to be Hunter House, and so you could obviously tell, and it wasn't as good, and it was more expensive.
Wow.
well, and unless like they maintain or left anything behind, you are talking about flavor from decades of grease being and things being cooked on these. Like they scrape it off, but it's kind of like that. I think it was like 1920s. It's like a continuous pot of soup that's been cooking somewhere in like the East Coast of the United States,
This is
and they
like
just keep
grease, bubbly grease, though.
yeah, they just keep adding new ingredients to it, so it's replenishing over time and never actually getting old, and it's always hot. But it is
That is
technically a
the
continuous.
grease is very much the American version of that story.
Yeah, it is 100% just that flavor that builds up over time. Even my smoker, like if I clean that thing, it's not going to taste right for a while. And
Yeah.
so you don't clean that. You just get it hot enough to kill off anything that might make you sick, and then put the meat on there.
There is a
I know Hunter
story.
House did they did take their grill because that's everything that they said is like they're not closing, they're literally just picking. It's like that SpongeBob episode, like they picked up the Bikini Bottom and moved it over here.
There's a story of a Burger King that I saw that he went out. He lost his uh oh, what are those called? It's a franchise. Like he lost the rights to use it as a franchise, but he just kept all the signage and everything. But so he had like a lot of supplies ready to go. So he was able to keep up the facade of it being a Burger King for a few months. But then the article was really funny because customers started noticing like the burgers were coming in aluminum foil wraps instead of like Burger King bags. And like by the end, it was like a whiteboard that he was writing the menu on in the back because like the lights weren't working anymore on the Burger King menu. And for a good, I think, year or two, he just kept it up as though it were a Burger King. But people were asking in these like forums, like, "What's going on with the Burger King on the corner?"
Another like I had a gut intuition first time I ever walked in there, place in Lansing. So Kyle, I hope you've heard of this place, the bar Stober's.
I never went there.
Oh, see,
I've
that's a
heard of it.
place.
Yeah.
Like right when you walk in, you know that it's gonna be a good place. Like everything is kind of rickety. They have the two pool tables right there,
Hmm.
low lit bar. smells like cigs. Like they probably banned smoking inside probably like 3 or 4 years ago, and it's that perfect dive bar. Like I think I got an old style for like 2.75 or $3. And I'm like, if
Yep.
you're charging me for a pint of a light beer like this with this kind of like ambiance and like these people sitting up here at the bar with me, I know they're here daily.
Yeah. Yeah. They never leave.
Man, they don't leave. And that's that gut feeling where you know that you're just in a good place. Well,
Sometimes.
well, yeah,
Sometimes.
sometimes it's a good
I
place.
says
You're there all the time. You're probably not in a good place.
there was
But
a place in downtown Detroit that we'd go to when we were not of age on our way to like Tigers games. And it was that type of place, except it was like PBR, 75 cents for a little Dixie cup of
Mhm.
PBR, and you felt sick every time. And like, I don't know
Yep.
what's wrong with this, but I do not feel well. But
75
where
cents.
else? Yeah, where else were we gonna go when we weren't 21?
Yep.
So um
A gut feeling. Here we go. That one bar that we went to a couple months ago, and then when we're tasting this beer, and it's like, this isn't even a gut feeling at this point. Like we know this beer is not good. Like there's
but
something off with this.
well, if you've tried enough beer, you know when the lines need to be cleaned. And that's what that flavor was
Yeah.
that line needed to be clean. Uh Not to go down this any further, I thought you were about the one when we were down in Alabama, and
Oh,
Brad, the whole family's there. Brad's like, let's find a dive bar, and we find one, and we're like, this place is weird. We got a weird gut feeling. We didn't stay long. We got out of there, and like found out later it was like a human like trafficking scene, and it was like
Oh,
not
no.
meant for people like us to check out,
yeah.
and
What?
it was not. We that was some gut
Jeez.
feeling to get out of there quickly. So
Yeah, I mean, even just walking through the front door, what the bouncer looked like he looked like a real sketchy dude. I'm like, yeah, you should probably have like some like intimidating people be your bouncer. But like this dude was like borderline looking at like Sons of Anarchy type of guy.
yeah,
Perfect.
it
Shut
was.
down, I hope?
I'm sure,
I
but I
don't
don't
think
remember. I don't know. At least I think they shut down the human trafficking scheme that was going on. I don't know
That's
if the
that's
owners were
good.
actually involved in it or if it was just like a criminal element had set up shop there or
Yeah.
but yeah,
no, it's open.
having Brad and bring the whole family there, that was fun.
Well, clearly it didn't get enough hate because it still has 3.9 stars on Google.
Either way. Like I said, the owners, the management, maybe they were blind to it or there was a coercive measure and they didn't have a choice. You know, we don't want to put anybody out there, and that's why we don't name it. But there was certainly a uncomfortable gut feeling walking into that place. So, um, get back on track a little bit. Another one I think is like really we think of instincts a lot. Is police, military, you know, that type of setting where it's the training is meant to almost create an instinct. And so it's still
Mm,
training based. It's not like natural in you to act in those ways, but it's like hammering home the fact that all right, dangerous situation, you're just going to react rather than to stop and think about what's going on, which some cases may save your life, and then other cases probably is why we see so many instances of not great things going on with people in authority as well. So
mm, yeah.
we were talking with someone yesterday about like CIA and going overseas and the fact that there's a lack of empathy with people that are having to go in those situations and potentially kill people or see dead bodies and their reaction to it and how you know if you did a psychological test with them they could be considered sociopath or potential psychopath because of that lack of empathy, but is it truly the lack thereof, or was it trained out of them to survive doing those actions that they were taught that they had to do from the government? Which is interesting to wonder, is it something you can just program out, or do you have to kind of set up and divide your professional life from your personal life?
Yeah, that was an interesting part of that conversation, like, the one, just discussing the mental health implications of going through events like that, and then 2, talking about there are people who literally feel nothing afterwards going through traumatic events like that. It's just kinda wild, the range.
I know that and this is something we told Brad here, he could have his own lead his own episode of where he attacks me for being a soulless, emotionless robot and call me out. But it is something I learned over the years too, both from like firefighter, EMT training, and because of putting myself in dumb, dangerous situations as a teenager where it is I automatically react. I'll feel the emotions later, but it's gonna be maybe even a day or
Right.
2. It's just, what do I need to do to get this situation back on track sort of thing, and it might be a defense mechanism, and that's probably a different episode sometime talking about what that would actually be, but
Mechanism. You said mechanism,
yeah,
Mr. Behaviorist.
I
Uh-oh.
know, and that's why I said we'll discuss it later because it's not like a actual mechanism, but that is what a listener might know it as.
Right,
Um,
right.
but it might be that you just have to learn to not feel in those situations. Like with what
Right.
we see on a daily basis, sometimes it's so bad that if you had the normal empathetic reaction to it, it would just ruin your day. You couldn't do this work.
Mhm.
Um, and so you have to be able to either laugh at the ridiculousness or just take a step back and like process it later. So along the same lines with the military and police, and maybe someone will have a little more to say about this because I think both of you, or at least Dr. Mammo was involved in a lot of sports, is like heat of the moment in the game, knowing how to react. And if you have to stop and think about it, that it actually will slow you down and often cause you not to react in time. Like I'm thinking football, if I'm out there on the defensive line and I'm supposed to go somewhere and be like, hit somebody or clog a hole, and I'm stopping to think about like, wait, what am I supposed to do here? I'm too late. Like there is
Yeah.
no time to stop and think.
Yep. That was me in like every sport. Soccer, I could go from having handles of a baby deer to like an extremely good player, but it was all based on if I had to react in that moment to dribble around people. Because if I had moment and I was like dribbling up to someone, no shot I was getting around them because I just didn't have the handles because I would think about it too much. Or in baseball, if I would get like a hot shot hit at me, or and I had to react fast, or if there was like a slow roller that I had to charge up on and make a throw and I didn't have time to think about it, I was way more likely to make it look clean than if I just get a casual, simple ground ball.
So much vernacular I'm unfamiliar with. A slow roller you have to cash up on, is that what you said?
If it's trickling at you and he has to run full speed to catch up to and then chuck it across,
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
yeah,
more of a reaction than, all right, it's coming at me at a normal speed. I just have to sit here and wait for it, and then you
yeah,
misjudge the bounce.
yep. And if
Gotcha.
I do that, I was 100 times more likely to screw it up. Heck, actually, story time that ruined me. It was end of senior year, and our season we're like practically tied for conference. Was it district champs? And so then we had to go back down to another school because we didn't get to finish the doubleheader earlier in the season because of daylight. We went back to go play. It was supposed to be one inning, and then that was going to be the game. But because we finished with a tie, we ended up going 9 innings, and then we lost. Reason we lost, they get someone on like first person up, no outs, and he does get around to third. And I think at this point, I think we had one out. We have him at third, and then so I played third, and then I get a ball smoked at me, and so I get it, and I had all the time in the world. I check him back, make sure that he's like not moving towards home, and then because it was hit so hard, I have all the time in the world, and I just do a nice little pump, and I just think about the throw, and I toss it over. I'm like, you don't have to throw it hard because you have all the time in the world, but I had all the time to think about it. I threw that ball a solid 8 feet over the first baseman's head, and that was to lose it.
I'll say, yeah,
Whoa. Were you scorned by your community and friends?
Maybe, I don't
he
know.
still can't show his face around the Walmart over there.
No, I am on an Applebee's wall though, playing soccer in Comstock.
Huh?
There you go.
Uh, I always was the same way. Like if you if something come flying at me, I had a good chance of snagging it. But pop fly playing like, just beer league softball, and I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna blow this. I know I'm gonna blow this. It's just coming right at me. And it's gonna bounce off my fingertips or something like.
It's gonna bounce off your head.
One
I just
time,
ran cross country. There was no thinking involved, and there's no
You
instinct.
didn't just think while running your 3 miles?
You just run faster than the people beside you.
What would you think about? Like, what was going through your head when you ran
pushing
cross
a
country?
rock, pushing a rock, pushing a rock.
I would sing songs in my head to the tempo that I wanted to run, and I had different songs for like the mile and the 5K and the 10K.
That's probably a good way to do that. I
Mhm.
never ran well enough to like need a strategy.
That's why you can get certain BPMs, like sound like playlists on like Spotify and things like that. People like to have the right rhythm because if they're moving at the pace, then
So
that's their goal pace.
it was the goal then to know your pace and find the right song? Because if you went too fast, then it's not doing you good. It's actually going to wear you out.
If I felt really good, I would start singing the song in my head faster than what it
Okay.
was actually. Yeah.
So that's probably because your
like
musical background as well. Because
it did help.
I
Yeah.
can't keep tempo with my foot. Like I'm just not able to do that. So
I would move my teeth. I would like grind my teeth to the beat like while I was running, and like I still
People
have
are like,
like
"Why is this dude just grinning?"
yeah. I still will like move my teeth around to the beat just to like keep it, and I'd get a sore mouth a lot.
Do you remember what your like number one song that you'd always like your safety net? No, not a safety net, just your go-to was?
Oh man, it was different every time. It really was. Hip hop beats were easy because they were repetitive.
I'm thinking if you like pina coladas, that's what I'm picturing.
Yeah. It was just
Girls
Tiptoe
just
Through
want
the
to have fun.
Tulips with Me by Tiny Tim.
Wait, you
Girls
can't
just
be
want to have
serious,
fun.
right?
No, I can't think of one in
Oh,
particular.
okay. But wait, did you ever actually use Tiptoe Through the Tulips?
No.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't
Let's say, dude, that's
frolicking. I was
chaotic. You're a
I
psycho.
wasn't frolicking a 10K.
Just the entire Footloose soundtrack just going on.
There you go. There you go. That'd be a fast
The-
time.
All of a sudden, he
I
starts
don't
doing
know the
dance,
songs well enough to
dance as he's running.
I don't know the music well enough to actually know how fast that would be. I'm just throwing
Yeah.
things out there that would be
I'm
funny
trying
for
to
a
think. The
teenage boy
Footloose
to
would
be
be
listening
really
to.
fast.
The song Footloose. So I'm pretty good. Here, you're gonna put me on the spot. I think I can guess within a pretty good standard deviation
What am I looking up to confirm your thought?
So look up the BPM of Footloose, the song.
Okay.
Kick off your Sunday shoes, that one. That's gotta be like it's gotta be like 145 or 150.
Footloose by Kenny Loggins has a tempo of approximately 174 beats per minute.
Oh man, I was off. It's harder
Terrible
when it's
gut
faster.
intuition.
It's harder when it's faster because there's less room for.
Yeah.
You can be off just by a little bit of a. Yeah. Anyway,
Okay.
I'm gonna
Let's
take that
test
part
it.
out.
No, let's test. No. Let's test this gut intuition that you have, and then we'll have Steve guess it.
Yeah, this is instinct. This is instinct.
Someone because he's going purely off instinct with a lack of a musical background. So I'm trying to think of a song that both. I mean, we're talking about DMX, Rough Rider Anthem. What do you guys think the beat per minute is?
Stop, drop. I got a number. You wanna go first, Steve?
Just randomly throw it out there.
I'm gonna say
use your thought though, because you know that Footloose is 174. So
I'm gonna say 70. I'm saying 72.
I was going to randomly say in the 70s, but I don't even think that I like. You're talking about one or a little bit over 1 beat per second at that point.
Most modern dance music is 120.
I'd say yeah. Well, now you said I educated. I'd say probably closer to 60. In my head, it seems like it's like stop, drop, like around a second. So I'd say around 60, 65.
91.
All right.
Ooh, man, I'm getting old.
Okay, let's do one more as part of this.
I gotta get one right.
I'm gonna do a newer song now. Let's do.
How about Chop Suey.
No, because you know the song too well. So
it's crazy fast, and then it has a lot of changing pace, and that's why I'd have no.
I'm trying to think of a song. Kyle, what kind of music do you listen to nowadays?
You know, a little bit of everything: rock, country, rap.
All
I
right,
don't know.
we'll go. What if I say? I mean, let's go with an Eminem song. So "Lose Yourself."
Okay.
I'm gonna go with 150 Neighborhood on that.
Oh, that's not one. That's too fast. I'm gonna say in the 90s. Because stop.
It's no. You're doing Stop Dropping. You're
It's
Lose
like it's
Yourself.
very similar. It's a little faster than Stop Drops. I'm gonna say like 90 to 100.
What'd you say, Steve?
I don't know. What I say like 140, 130, something like that. 150. Yeah.
That's just shocking. Yeah, Steve's much closer. It says 171.
Well, that's doubled. You gotta have it.
What?
It's not doing 170. Yeah.
Dun. It says
it's a faster.
API says has a tempo of approximately 171 beats per minute. Its intense, fast-paced nature, which fits within the Presto range of 168 to 177 beats per minute.
The background is there are parts where he slows down the lyrics, but I think the background music is faster.
Well, that wouldn't change the yeah. See, 85 is what I'm saying, and that's having it.
Why do you have it? We can't go down this any further, but I don't even understand why having it is a thing.
Because it's the same thing. 172 and 86 would be the same thing.
I'm confused now. Can you elaborate?
Yeah.
If you're doing, it's just how many beats. So it's just like lose yourself in the moment, or you're going lose yourself in the moment. You know what I mean? So you're counting these taps, or you're counting quarter notes. And I was doing quarter notes.
Okay, man. Yeah. I mean, that maybe that makes sense. I don't know
this
music.
This is how he moves the goalpost, so I'm wrong every time, and he could be right.
I was still wrong. I said 90 to 100. It was 85.
All right, sure it was.
We're not playing Price is Right rules. If that's the case, then you are technically correct.
We're not
better than.
We don't even know music well enough to have this argument, which is why it's unfair.
I agree though, but if you go based off the lyrics, like not the dun dun dun, if lose yourself, yeah, it is pretty slow.
Doubled or halved BPMs are musically identical and can be mixed together as they represent the same underlying tempo, just counted differently. So it's like if you're doing like halftime. I was counting it as halftime. That's what I was.
All right, fine. Okay. So let's not do a halftime one then.
No, we're moving on. We're done with this. We are done with this.
This should be our whole show. Like we should do this every episode.
I kind of like this interactive game thing where I can be.
I'm good with it, except
I'll be what's the Drew Carey? Isn't he
the MC?
Yes.
I just had one more topic, and we're at 55 minutes here. That's why I said no. Let's move on.
Let's move on.
Yeah, let's not let Brad have some fun.
No, we don't want you to get full of yourself here.
Okay.
The only other example that like really came to mind to me that I see a lot of, especially social media, hearing people talk, is like parenting, and both like parenting styles, but also like with the vaccinations and medicines and how to treat and care for their children in terms of that as well. People often say, I know, my kid better, I know their health better, like, and they don't want to listen to experts because they feel this intuition. I guess parents' intuition, I guess it really would be this idea that it is innate or built in rather than learned.
Well, and that's the same scenario is that, like I didn't trust the doctor. I had my, parents' intuition. You, again, going back to that idea of like, you have a longer learning history and have experienced more contingencies with that kid than the doctor has, even though medically the doctor probably knows more, presumably, than the parent does as far, you know what I mean?
Well, and I think this one's a little more nuanced too. You can answer in just a second, Master Chief, but yes, in part, like if you know enough about what the doctor is seeing to say, I don't think this is right because there seems to be something else going on, but I don't know how to articulate what that something else would be to say maybe take you in a new direction.
Yeah.
There's some of that there based on learning history, but I also think we need to understand that most people's parenting is not something they've studied, learned, or took the time to figure out. It is just kind of, this is how I was raised, and so this
Mm.
is going to be my reaction because, hey, I turned out all right, even though a lot of people that argue that may or may not have turned out all right. You know what I mean? And so
Right, right.
is it that there's something else going on that you just can't articulate for the expert to make a more informed decision? Or is it,
Mm.
nope, this is the way I was taught to do it, and I can't tell you why that's the way it should be, but it's how I was raised, so that's the way it should be. And I think there's a lot of that as well.
Going because you brought up the whole doctor interaction part. It is interesting that you're saying this because what at least I'm pretty sure human physicians do this as well with their medical record keeping. But what I do with every single patient, it's a SOAP. So you have your subjective portion, your objective portion, and those are the main two that I'm going to use to talk about this. Then you have your assessment and plan. So the AP part of the SOAP, put off to the side right now. But because you're talking about that, even though the or the owner or say a parent, they're not medically educated, but because so that's your subjective portion, that's subjectively what they've seen, what they think, and what they know with their patient or with their pet slash
Mhm.
child. And so then by utilizing that and what I'm able to put together by an objective list of everything that paints a clinical picture of what I'm seeing, when I use my subjective portion as well as my objective portion, that's what puts together like a whole clinical picture for something that I then use to maybe make my to form my gut intuition of something going on. And I'm sure human physicians do this as well. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
We
Sure.
use
Yeah.
SOAP notes in our work as well.
Yeah.
It's a little different though, because studying human behavior at a scientific level, the client, their family, whoever is not going to have any insight into our background versus like medicine. You've been to the doctor a bunch of times. You at least have a somewhat of an idea in theory of what you think they're doing, even though you don't actually have the medical background to know what they're doing. But you've seen enough to have a theory or a guess based on what you've seen often.
Yeah. Well, because
And
with that, like, it's like a person comes in and says, my dog is eating less food. Like, that's a very subjective statement because they know what the quote unquote normal, like, because every dog, not every
Mm.
dog is a grazer, not every dog sits and chows the food down in 2 seconds.
yeah,
So, like, it's a very subjective statement. But objectively, it may not be wrong.
and what I'm saying with our work, the reason it's a little bit different is you have 10,000, 20,000, 100,000 years of explanatory fictions being explained, like why people do what they do. And so there's still all this background in uh, unscientific explanations, and then others that are a little less scientific, but still commonly accepted explanations of why people do what they do. And then we come in, and there's like a lot of disagreement sometimes with us as the expert because they don't even know our science to have that background. And so that's where I was saying
Mhm.
we often find someone like, oh, nope, it's definitely not attention because I'm not, providing them attention. I'm just yelling at them to stop. And we're like, well, based on our definition, that could be a form of attention, but we don't need to get into that right now. Here's how we would treat it regardless. And so it's a little bit different from our aspect in the use of our soap notes, but it is very much up you list the subjective, you list the objective, and then your assessment, your plan, and move forward from that. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Every time I think about the parenting and medicine thing, I just always come back to the idea of the vaccines. And you see why people are distrustful. Partially it's the learning history isn't robust enough to remember, like with the uh, new medications, the RNA or the mRNA, like this, we're talking about messenger RNA
Mhm.
versus DNA, and they sound so similar. You're like, oh, you adjust my DNA, you're gonna make me grow a third arm or something. And there's just that fear there that rather than seeing, nope, you're actually using chemicals to be a messenger to have the body react in a certain way to certain stimuli, and that's all that is. Um, and
But the thing
obviously
is, and
also,
kind of like what you're saying, just because people don't know, then they go into these like rabbit holes and like think about everything that could be going on. But in the end, they just need to not do that and have more trust in trained
well,
individuals.
And you can't say like blanket statement more trust, because obviously people do bad things in every field, so you
Yes,
don't want
100%.
to. But in that case, even if it was DNA, people don't have enough understanding of how DNA works, and then the fear that, oh no, what are you doing to my DNA? You're changing my basic building blocks. Whereas if it was possible, which I don't think it is, to just make small DNA tweaks here and there, we no longer got sick. Why would anybody have a problem with that anyways? You know what I mean? And so
Yeah,
it is that gut feeling, like DNA is something you don't mess with, seems to be kind of that instinct that I'm talking about here, more than, we've already gotten into and can continue getting into the whole actual like vaccine argument and why it's illogical to not use vaccinations. But it does come down to this gut feeling that isn't really based on a whole lot compared to the science behind why they do work. So
sure.
Sure.
sure. Every time we do that, I think of that Frasier episode, even though I haven't seen it since I was a little kid. So
Sure.
sure. All right. Since
Instinct.
we stopped the quizzing on musical talents here,
I was having fun.
and we can keep having fun, but we
No,
got to
you
actually
avoid
stay.
having fun because
No,
you're a
I
heartless
I
person.
disappointed myself. I didn't do that well.
You know,
and that
when you said that, you're like, yeah, I'm really good at this. I bet I could get within 5 or 10 in the first one. It's like, what do you think Footloose says? You're like,
Way off.
100. Try 170.
I want to be done now.
but if you cut it in half, see, he was a little bit closer.
Yeah.
But I explained that, and I'll read it again. Oh, I
Yeah.
lost the tab.
Hey,
Forget
one more
it.
thing to talk about here, and just to have the listeners get a little excited about it. We're gonna have. How excited are you guys to have our first recording where we're all just together?
That'll be fun. Hopefully at a brewery in Tampa. I think we have a fun topic that's easy to talk about.
What are we talking about?
It's going to just be scientific phenomena that seems unbelievable, but is true.
What?
Ooh,
Yeah,
believe it or not.
yeah, kind of like one example we'll throw out there is, if a vehicle was able to travel fast enough, and now I should have looked this up before I said it, but it's the red shift and blue shift. It would appear, I think, red as it's coming at you and blue as it's traveling away, or the opposite. But moving fast enough, you would see those colors regardless of the color the car really was, if you could see it moving fast enough.
Oh, I
Due
thought you
to
were gonna get
physics.
into relativity, where if you travel at a certain speed, that time will literally slow down. I thought that's
That's
what you're gonna get into.
it's that sort of thing, but this is a little bit more like obscure facts and way we talk about, because I figured maybe at a loud brewery, maybe a couple beers in us, let's make it easy and fun to talk about rather than trying to get too sciencey ourselves, So
Perfect. That sounds good. I am
Good.
excited. That'll be fun.
and then Kyle's getting his face tattoo. So
I don't know
Yeah.
how this rumor
Wait.
started.
So wait, which day are we doing this again?
should we finish the episode and then we can talk logistics, or do you want to be out here for everybody to
No,
hear?
no. I mean, we have to. We're telling
Thursday
people.
Thursday afternoon. Yeah, but we're not gonna be live. I already talked to Kyle about doing a live show, and he said, "Oh God, no, there's no way." And
No,
so,
we're not gonna be live, but we're gonna be
yeah,
all together.
yeah. So Thursday, uh, too bad Kyle's having to fly out on Friday, because Friday the 13th would have been the day to do it probably. But Thursday
Yeah.
the 14th is the plan.
It'll be a good one.
Yeah.
Sweet. And it'll be
All
right
right.
after Dr. Sparks and I get tattoos.
Yeah. Or
And
or
face.
Kyle gets a face tattoo. One or the other. I'm willing to give up the spot if we can convince him. So
We should at least just have him get like a temporary like a face painting tattoo.
yeah. Did you
This
supposedly? I heard that you can fill up a tattoo gun with water and tattoo it, and it'll show up like just pink irritation for a couple of days and then go away. So we should at least talk him into
sounds
doing
awful.
I
Sounds
was gonna say,
terrible.
that sounds very painful.
that. All right. Let's end this the way we always end
Send
it.
us off.
Let's finish.
Full circle.
The world's a rough place out there, per usual. lots of new conflicts popping up day in, day out, a lot of negativity in the news. And so you just got to try to look at the bright side, look for the good, look for the good people, the good Samaritans, and just find the positivity in life. And just really be careful out there, because you just never know when those animal instincts might kick in, and you might follow the person in front of you off a cliff like the lemmings we all are. So just be careful and enjoy your life.
Got dark there at the end.